So the HEU Screener Retraining Fund is for members who were working as ambassadors, greeters, or screeners in the private sector. So this applies to anybody who's been working in any of these positions between September 2024 to now. So people who were who started work earlier, that's fine, but as long as they were working during this time, they would be eligible for it. So as I mentioned, it's for members who are working in the private sector, or if they're working in both the public and private sector, they should have been spending the majority of their hours in the private sector. And of course, they should have already finished their probation. So if you meet all these criteria, you would be eligible for this fund. So we have this little bit of a kind of like a chart. If you want to see if you are eligible, I don't know if you can see my cursor, can you?
I can see it.
Yeah, okay. So if you start from the top here, have you ever worked as an ambassador, screener, or greeter? So if your answer is no, well, obviously it doesn't apply to you, but if it's yes, as I mentioned, it should matter if you're working in the private or public sector. If you work in the public sector, you could be eligible for the FBA Ambassador and Training Fund. So it's another fund that's for public sector. I'm not really aware of how that works, but there is a fund for that. But in the private sector, you either work in the private sector only, or you both work at both public and private sectors. And in that case, if the majority of our are in the private sector, both of these sections would come to the next question, which is, so were you working for this at this role between September 24 to now, April 25? And if the answer is yes, and you've completed your probation, then you would be eligible for the fund. Please stop me if you have a question at any time. So I'm gonna go to the next slide now. So the training, you can take training at any public college or university or a nonprofit organization, and it can be for any healthcare occupation that falls under one of HEU's bargaining associations or bargaining units. So you don't have to stick to something that you can only, work in the private sector, so nothing like that. And as I mentioned, it should be a public university or college, but if a specific program is only available at a private university, or for example, if in a specific city something's not available, there could be situations when we can consider private, colleges or universities, but in general, public ones. And then the program should be less than 2 years in length. So the fund covers tuition, registration costs, material, textbooks, or anything else that is, related to the program that you're taking. But you have to make sure that you keep the receipt for all of that so that you can get reimbursed. So the type of programs that you can, take, I mentioned that it should be less than 2 years. So we have long-term programs and short-term programs. So long-term ones are anything that is less than 2 years, and short-term ones are less than 20 days. So I added some kind of like examples. So medical office admin certificate could be at any college or university as long as it's private. So the one that I have here, it was an 8-month full-time course, and then the cost was $5,000 pretty much. So you would apply for it, you'd get reimbursed. Any other, program that would have the criteria that we talked about would be eligible. And the short-term ones, we're already reimbursing people for their CPR certificate and food safe certificates, or any other short-term program that you would want to take. So as I mentioned, the short-term ones are 20 days, maximum of 20 days. And the amount that you get for tuition and books and material registration fee would be a maximum of $2,400. And then on top of that, you get a daily allowance of $125. So if the program is 20 days, you would get this for 20 days. If it's less, for less than that. The long-term programs are 21 days to 2 years, and then the maximum allowable amount is 10,000. Again, for books, tuitions, registration, any other costs. And then the 125 would be only for 238 days out of those 2 years. So you won't get the 125 for the whole duration of 2 years, but only for 238 days. So when you want to register for a program, you want to make sure that the school or college is a public, post-secondary institution. You can scan this QR code and check. I'm gonna open the website to show you. Can you see the screen of the website that I opened? So if you want to check, the colleges here, you can just open the page and check to see if they're public, private, or anything like that. I'm gonna just copy the link into the chat. But you can also scan the QR code if you want. So this is like a brief explanation about it, but if you have any questions, you can email me, and this is the email address that we have for questions about this fund. So I'm gonna also copy the email in the chat box. So that's it for the presentation. So if you have any questions or anything that you want to bring up.
Eva, I would just want to add a bit of clarification about that question. The first one that the question was that did you work in this role anytime between September 2024 and April 2025? It basically says that did you get this place during this time from 2024 and 2025? So because some of you may have been working for a while, and then you got this place, let's say October of last year. So yes, I just want to clarify that.